The asteroids closest to the little prince's planet were 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. So he decided to visit them first. He needed to find something to do and learn something new. A king lived on the first asteroid. Dressed in purple and ermine, he sat on a throne that was very simple yet majestic. "Ah, here is my subject," exclaimed the king when he saw the little prince. "How did he recognize me?" thought the little prince. "He's seeing me for the first time." He didn't know that kings see the world in a very simplified way. For them, all people are subjects. "Come closer. I want to look at you," said the king, terribly proud that he could be a king to someone. The little prince looked around to see if there was anywhere to sit, but the magnificent ermine mantle covered the entire planet. He had to stand, and he was so tired. And suddenly he yawned. "Etiquette does not allow yawning in the presence of a monarch," said the king. "I forbid you to yawn." "It was accidental," replied the little prince, very embarrassed. "I've been traveling for a long time and haven't slept at all." "Well, then I command you to yawn," said the king. "I haven't seen anyone yawn in many years. I'm even curious about it. So yawn. That is my order." "But I'm afraid I can't any more," said the little prince, blushing deeply. Then I command you to yawn, then." The king was confused and seemed to be a little angry. After all, the most important thing for a king is to be obeyed without question. He would not tolerate disobedience. He was an absolute monarch, but he was very kind and therefore gave only reasonable orders. "If I command my general to turn into a seagull," he used to say, "and if the general does not obey the order, it will not be his fault, but mine." "May I sit down?" asked the little prince timidly. "I command you to sit down," replied the king, and majestically picked up one corner of his ermine mantle. But the little prince was puzzled. The planet was so tiny. Where could he reign? "Your Majesty," he began, "may I ask you a question?" "I command you to ask," said the king hastily. "Your Majesty, where is your kingdom?" "Everywhere," replied the king simply. "Everywhere?" The king gestured modestly, pointing to his planet, as well as to other planets and stars. "And all this is yours?" asked the little prince. "Yes," replied the king, for he was truly an absolute monarch and knew no limits or restrictions. "And the stars obey you?" asked the little prince. "Of course," replied the king. "The stars obey me instantly. I don't tolerate disobedience." The little prince was delighted. If only he had such power. Then he could admire the sunset not 44 times a day, but 72, or even 100, or 200 times, and he wouldn't even have to move his chair from place to place. Then he became sad again, remembering his abandoned planet, and gathering his courage, asked the king, "I would like to watch the sunset. Please be so kind as to order the sun to set." "If I order a general to flit like a butterfly from flower to flower, or to compose a tragedy, or to turn into a seagull, and the general does not carry out the order, who is to blame, he or I?" "You, your Majesty," replied the little prince without hesitation. "Quite right," confirmed the king. "You must ask of each person what he can give. Power, above all, must be reasonable. If you order your people to throw themselves into the sea, they will start a revolution. I have the right to demand obedience because my commands are reasonable." "But what about sunset?" reminded the little prince. Once he asked a question, he would not give up until he got an answer. "You will have your sunset. I will demand that the sun set. But first I will wait for favorable conditions, for that is the wisdom of a ruler." "And when will the conditions be favorable?" asked the little prince. Hmm, hmm, replied the king, leafing through a thick calendar. It will be, hmm, hmm. Today it will be at 7:40 in the evening, and then you will see how precisely my command will be carried out. The little prince yawned. It's a pity you can't watch the sunset here when you want to. And to tell the truth, he was already getting bored. It's time for me to go, he said to the king. There's nothing more for me to do here. Stay, said the king. He was very proud to have a subject and did not want to part with him. Stay, and I will make you a minister. A minister of what? Well, of justice. But there is no one to judge here. Who knows? Replied the king. I haven't seen all of my kingdom yet. I'm very old. I don't have room for a carriage, and walking is so tiring. The little prince bent down and looked again at the other side of the planet. But I've already looked, he exclaimed. There's no one there either. Then judge yourself, said the king. That is the most difficult thing to do. It is much harder to judge oneself than others. If you can judge yourself correctly, then you are truly wise. I can judge myself anywhere, said the little prince. I don't need to stay here to do that. Said the king. I think there is an old rat living somewhere on my planet. I hear it scratching at night. You could judge this old rat. From time to time, sentence it to death. Its life will depend on you, but then you will have to pardon it every time. We must take care of the old rat. It's the only one we have. I don't like to pass death sentences, said the little prince. And anyway, it's time for me to go. No, it's not time, objected the king. The little prince was already ready to leave, but he didn't want to upset the old monarch. If your majesty wishes your orders to be obeyed without question, he said, you could give me a sensible order. For example, order me to set off without delay. It seems to me that the conditions for this are most favorable. The king did not answer, and the little prince hesitated for a moment, then sighed and set off. I appoint you ambassador, the king called after him hastily, and he looked as if he would not tolerate any objections. Strange people, these grown-ups, said the little prince to himself as he continued on his way. Chapter 11. On the second planet lived an ambitious man. Oh, here comes an admirer, he exclaimed, seeing the little prince from afar, for vain people imagine that everyone admires them. Good afternoon, said the little prince. What a funny hat you have. It's for bowing, explained the ambitious man, to bow when someone greets me. Unfortunately, no one ever comes here. Is that so? Said the little prince, who didn't understand. Clap your hands, said the ambitious man. The little prince clapped his hands. The ambitious man lifted his hat and bowed modestly. It's more fun here than with the old king, thought the little prince, and he began to clap his hands again. And the ambitious man bowed again, taking off his hat. This went on for 5 minutes, and the little prince got bored. What do I have to do to make the hat fall off? He asked. But the ambitious man didn't hear him. Vain people are deaf to everything except praise. Are you really my enthusiastic admirer? He asked the little prince. What does it mean to admire? To admire means to recognize that on this planet I am the most beautiful, the most elegant, the richest, and the most intelligent. But there is no one else on your planet. Well, make me happy. Admire me anyway. I admire you, said the little prince, shrugging his shoulders slightly. But what good does that do you? And he ran away from the ambitious man. Adults are very strange people, he thought to himself as he set off on his journey. Chapter 12. On the next planet lived a drunkard, The little prince did not stay with him very long, but he felt very sad afterwards. When he arrived on this planet, the drunkard was sitting silently, staring at a pile of bottles, empty and full. "What are you doing?" asked the little prince. "Drinking," replied the drunkard gloomily. "Why?" "To forget." "What do you want to forget?" asked the little prince. He felt sorry for the drunkard. "I want to forget that I am ashamed," admitted the drunkard, hanging his head. "Why are you ashamed?" asked the little prince. He really wanted to help the poor man. "I'm ashamed of drinking," explained the drunkard, and nothing more could be gotten out of him. And the little prince went on his way, confused and perplexed. Yes, adults are very, very strange people, he thought as he continued on his way. Chapter 13. The fourth planet belonged to a businessman. He was so busy that when the little prince appeared, he didn't even look up. "Good afternoon," said the little prince. "Your cigarette is out." 3 + 2 = 5. 5 + 7 = 12. 12 + 3 = 15. Good afternoon. 15 + 7 = 22. 22 + 6 = 28. I don't have time to strike a match. 26 + 5 = 31. Phew! That makes a total of 501,622,731. 500 million what? Huh? Are you still there? 500 million? I don't know what. I have so much work to do. I'm a serious person. I don't have time for chit-chat. 2 + 5 = 7. 500 million what? Repeated the little prince. Once he asked a question, he wouldn't give up until he got an answer. The businessman looked up. I've been living on this planet for 54 years, and in all that time I've only been interrupted 3 times. The first time, 22 years ago, a May beetle flew in from somewhere. It made a terrible noise, and I made 4 mistakes in my addition. The second time, 11 years ago, I had an attack of rheumatism. From a sedentary lifestyle, I don't have time to walk around. I am a serious person. The third time, here it is. So, that makes 500 million. Millions of what? The businessman realized that he had to answer, or he would have no peace. 500 million of those little things that you sometimes see in the air. What are they, flies? No, they're small and shiny. Bees? No, they're small and golden, and any lazy person who looks at them starts dreaming. But I'm a serious person. I don't have time to dream. Ah, stars? Exactly. Stars? 500 million stars? What do you do with them all? 501,622,731. I'm a serious person. I like precision. What do you do with all those stars? What do I do? Yes. I don't do anything. I own them. You own the stars? Yes. But I've seen a king who... Kings don't own anything. They only reign. It's not the same thing at all. Why do you want to own the stars? To be rich. Why do you want to be rich? To buy more stars, if someone discovers them. He talks almost like that drunkard, thought the little prince, and he continued to ask, How can you own stars? Whose stars? Asked the businessman grumpily. I don't know. Nobody's. Then they're mine, because I thought of it first. And that's enough? Of course. If you find a diamond that has no owner, it's yours. If you find an island that has no owner, it's yours. If you're the first to think of an idea, you can patent it. It's yours. I own the stars because no one else thought to claim them before me. That's true, said the little prince. And what do you do with them? I manage them. replied the businessman. I count them and recount them. It's very difficult, but I'm a serious man. However, this was not enough for the little prince. If I have a silk scarf, I can tie it around my neck and take it with me, he said. If I have a flower, I can pick it and take it with me, but you can't take the stars with you. No, but I can put them in the bank. How? Like this. I write down on a piece of paper how many stars I have. Then I put the piece of paper in a box and lock it with a key. That's all? That's enough. Funny, thought the little prince, and even poetic, but it's not very serious. The little prince understood what was serious and what was not in his own way, quite differently from adults. I have a flower, he said, and I water it every morning. I have 3 volcanoes, and I clean them every week. I clean all 3, even the one that's extinct. You never know what might happen. It's good for my volcanoes and my flower that I own them. But the stars are of no use to you. The businessman opened his mouth, but couldn't find anything to say, and the little prince went on his way. No, adults are truly remarkable people, he said to himself innocently as he continued on his way. Chapter 14. The 5th planet was very interesting. It turned out to be the smallest of all. It could only fit a lamppost and a lamplighter. The little prince couldn't understand why a tiny planet lost in the sky, with no houses or inhabitants, needed a lamppost and a lamplighter. But he thought, maybe this man is ridiculous, but he is not as ridiculous as the king, the ambitious man, the businessman, and the drunkard. His work does have meaning. When he lights his lamp, it is as if another star or flower is born, and when he extinguishes the lantern, it is as if a star or a flower falls asleep. It is a wonderful occupation. It is truly useful because it is beautiful. And, coming up level with this planet, he bowed respectfully to the lamplighter. Good afternoon, he said. Why did you just extinguish the lamp? That's the agreement, replied the lamplighter. Good afternoon. And what is this agreement? To extinguish the lamp. Good evening. And he lit the lamp again. Why did you light it again? That's the agreement, repeated the lamplighter. I don't understand, admitted the little prince. There's nothing to understand, said the lamplighter. An agreement is an agreement. Good afternoon. And he extinguished the lamp. Then he wiped the sweat from his forehead with a red checkered handkerchief and said, My job is hard. It used to make sense. I turned off the lamp in the morning and turned it on again in the evening. I had a day to rest and a night to sleep. And then the agreement changed? The agreement didn't change, said the lamplighter. That's the trouble. My planet is spinning faster and faster every year, but the agreement remains the same. And how is it now? Asked the little prince. Like this. The planet makes a complete revolution in 1 minute, and I don't have a second to rest. Every minute I extinguish the lamp and light it again. How funny! So your day lasts only 1 minute. There's nothing funny about it, replied the lamplighter. We've been talking for a whole month now. A whole month? Yes, 30 minutes, 30 days. Good evening. And he lit the lamp again. The little prince looked at the lamplighter, and he liked this man more and more, who was so true to his word. The little prince remembered how he used to move his chair from place to place to get a better view of the sunset, and he wanted to help his friend. Listen, he said to the lamplighter. I know a way. You can rest whenever you want. I want to rest all the time, said the lamplighter. After all, it is possible to be faithful to one's word and still be lazy. Your planet is so tiny, continued the little prince. You can walk around it in 3 steps. You just need to walk at a speed that allows you to stay in the sun all the time. When you want to rest, just keep walking, walking, and the day will last as long as you want it to." "Well, that's not much use to me," said the lamplighter. "I love sleeping more than anything else in the world." "Then you're in a bad way," said the little prince sympathetically. "My business is bad," confirmed the lamplighter. "Good day." And he extinguished the lamp. "Here is a man," said the little prince to himself as he continued on his way. "Here is a man whom everyone would despise. A king, an ambitious man, a drunkard, a businessman. And yet, of all of them, he is the only one who is not ridiculous, in my opinion, perhaps because he thinks not only of himself." The little prince sighed. "I wish I could be friends with him," he thought, "but his planet is very small. There is no room for two." He didn't dare admit to himself that he regretted this wonderful planet most of all for another reason. In 24 hours, you can admire the sunset 1,440 times.